What up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the H-Town Rundown Podcast. This is your boy AD with my co-hosts in the building. We got C-Roll in the building. We got Mike G in the building. And we got Jules in the
Um,
building. What up, fellas? How y'all doing?
what's going on, Cat Daddy?
What up, man? So let's talk about it, man. The Houston Texans. You know, this is the Texan podcast. Let's talk about the Houston Texans. They had OTAs start this past week and continuing this week as well. It's been a lot of nothing. A handful of video clips here and there. A bunch of the players walking in to practice and out of practice from the Texas social media. A couple of CJ Stroud passes, a couple of Damian Pierce running through the bag drills. A couple of Tank Dell catches. I mean, I don't have anything else to talk about with the OTAs. I mean, do y'all? Because I saw a bunch of nothing. We had one set of interviews from OTAs, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But that, I mean, what other news is there with the OTAs? What you got, Jules?
Voluntary, organized training. That means if Tonsil Hoppe ass don't want to show up, he ain't got to show up. There's nothing in May that they can teach this dude to be good in September, October, November, and December. Get off the gas that Tunsil's not at OTAs. You might not see Tunsil until the day of the game. And y'all and I don't want to hear nothing about it. We have gone this far. Tunsil, who Tunsil is, he a mercenary. He's a very good mercenary. That's what it is. He might come in and talk to Kenyon Green a little bit. He might get him and Howard. They best friends. They got to eat together. They train together. He doing what he supposed to do. And I don't want to hear the spiel. You pay all this money. Now you guarantee. You knew what Cat was going to do when he got the first goddamn contract. He ass ain't going to show up. So let's not just make up these fake narratives just to have something to talk about. And you know what I'm talking to? I'm talking to the Texas media. It's the 610, the 790, the 97.5 guys. I know y'all bored. I know it's the summertime. Y'all got to talk about. Let's not do these fake narratives. I'm going for y'all. Today, I'm going for all y'all. All day today. Topic, I'm going for y'all because I know it's boring. We trying to make content too. But let's do content that's actually going to make goddamn sense. No, Tunsil is not going to be there 85% time to put shells on and get his body messed up. He rich. He know what he gotta do.
Yeah, the only players that really mattered in OTAs was the rookies and the second year players.
And undrafted rookies.
Yeah, the undrafted free agents and rookies, yeah. But other than that, your veterans, like they've been showing Stingley like crazy. But I would have been perfectly fine if Stingley was not at OTAs. Same thing with Jalen Petrie. They've shown a bunch of videos of Jalen Petrie and him in the interview. If Jalen Petrie wasn't there, I would have been perfectly fine. Now, when it comes to mini camp, mandatory mini camp, and training camp, then we got something to talk about.
And
but
what
this
Tunsil is some shorts and a t-shirt.
I want to see Tunsil big black bald head ass.
That's what you're going to see.
Walking out there in those shorts. I don't want to see that.
But
hell no, man.
So here's my point to them. I'm gonna get the soapbox. You congratulate or you give the guys who showed up, like Nico Collins. He showed up, I think maybe twice. OTAs. He know he fighting for a spot.
Yeah,
that's what you gotta do. What is Tunsil got to prove?
Tunsil's an all-pro. He is a Pro Bowler. He has all the accolades. He is a top left tackle in this NFL. He's a top 3 left tackle in the NFL.
Yep.
So he is the absolute one that you should not have to worry about anything because Tunsil has done this his whole time in the NFL.
Right.
That every year I think he's been in the league 7 years now, going on 8.
28 years old
Um,
in the
yeah, he's
prime.
28. I think he's been in the league 7 because he's been with the Texans, what, 5?
Yeah,
This is
he the burned through two contracts for us, so he been in for a minute.
because I think this is his 5th year with the Texans, going on 5th year with the Texans. So I know for sure he was with Miami 2 or 3 years
Yeah,
before he got traded. So, um, yeah, I mean, I just look at it like, hey, he been here for a while. He's done this every year he's been in the league. I don't think that's a story. What is a story in training camp or OT? I'm about to say training camp. I'm getting ahead of myself. In OTAs is the activity of CJ Stroud and Tank Dell, the chemistry between those two guys and the way they've talked about it. And Tank Dell is, I think Tank Dell is going to be a real player.
right,
He's going to be something that's going to really, because they doing too much boasting and media driven about Tank Dell from the Texans organization for him not to be what as good as advertised. Even though I got the hot take that he's not gonna have over 300 yards this year, go ahead and put it down. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It is what it is. But I just don't think he's gonna have it this year. But going forward in the future, Tank Dell is gonna be the one of the guys on this team. It was good to see John Mechie for a few
right.
until he until he got hurt.
No.
um, Hopefully this is not a story of John Mechie's career. ACL, cancer, hamstring. Let's hope it's these lower body and bodily injuries kind of fade away with John Mechie. Like you said, Jules, it was the receiver position in general. Seeing the guys like Nico Collins come out and participate and be present. Robert
Right,
Woods was out there
right.
present. You know, neat. I'm about to call him Nico Brown.
Nolan
Noah
Brown.
Brown,
No,
Noah
Brown, yeah.
Brown, and Kent was out there. Even got a little highlight package of him on
Mhm.
the social media. So the receiver position, I think, was the one that benefited the most
Right.
because they actually all the quarterbacks were there, and they got to get a lot of reps with those quarterbacks, which I feel like is severely needed. Um, I know Davis Mills ain't taking the guys out to Georgia no more. Like
No.
he the new franchise or something. I remember that happened last offseason and he got benched for Jeff Driscoll and Kyle Allen. So, you know, we just hope that CJ doesn't try to take nobody out to California to get no reps in and all this. Now let's stay in Texas and do it all here at home.
But
Um,
like I said earlier, these OTAs are like 707, and all y'all 707 legends who coaches. Oh, I got a seven. Nobody get down with the 707 teams. It's glorified pass and catch. And what's that
yeah,
hurt for? Your new quarterback, your old quarterback come back, being the second string or backup quarterback. Your second string quarterback who replaced this year to be a backup or a third string or traded. And what position was benefited from it? Receivers,
yeah,
because that's exactly what it's for. Timing, rhythm,
yeah,
get it right. That's it.
yeah.
Y'all
I
over there
mean,
crying. Y'all go over there crying because CJ ain't speaking about it. I ain't skip a second, but I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
you had any other takeaways before we move on to the next segment of OTAs? Anybody you were happy to see out at OTAs? Mike?
Oh, I mean, it's good to see the rookies out there. That's the main thing. Uh, Trying to develop chemistry between Tank Dell and it's a shame Mechie's not there, but um, I still believe in Mechie. I know it's a bit of a hot take, but I do have Mechie as the Texans' leading receiver this year. Um,
Roll Tide.
that's right, roll tide. And
Oh, it's not biased at all.
no, not at all. Hey, AD, you think Kenny Green's gonna have a good year, right?
Oh, he's gonna be excellent, man. He's gonna be top of the second year. He's gonna win comeback player of the year.
There you go.
Come back. Hey, but other than that, before we move on to the next topic,
Hey, before y'all move,
hey, go ahead, Chris.
how y'all doing, man? Thanks for letting me jump in here. The only thing I can say about Tunsil not being at practice, OTAs, are we talking about practice? Practice?
Yeah.
Yeah, Alabama
In May.
Yeah.
In May.
in May in
In
the
May,
middle.
In May.
voluntary workouts. That man is working on a job right now. He's got a second job. His second job is to recruit DeAndre Hopkins. So y'all let that man do his job. He is working on his job. He's trying to get DeAndre Hopkins over here. They trying to win him and Titus. And let them do their job, man. They know what they doing on them tackles, them bookies. Let them do their job. They doing a damn good job. Hopefully DeAndre can see that he needs to come back home where his mother has a seat in the front row in the end zone to get all his touchdown passes and balls from his touchdown passes. And yeah. Y'all let touch. The only other thing that I learned from the OTAs was that our guy Henry Tuatoa, he has a nickname of Tank. I didn't know his nickname was Tank.
Yep.
So we got two tanks on the team. That's it.
They both small.
Everybody else need to let that shit go, man. Them grown ass, all pros, pro bowlers, they don't need to be at OTAs right now.
Hey, hey, Chris led us into the next topic, but before we go into it, please, like you see at the bottom in the corner, as you see on the bottom of the ticker, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel
Yes,
and hit
sir.
the notification bell as well. So you won't miss anything that the H-Town Rundown produces, whether it be the Texans content or the Rockets content on a weekly basis. And coming soon, it'll be the Astros content coming as well. So just be on the lookout for all of these things with the H-Town Rundown. Like, share, and subscribe. And we are moving on to the hottest topic for the last 4 days or 5 days, however long it's been. DeAndre Hopkins, former, hear what I said, former wide receiver for the Arizona Cardinals, as the Arizona Cardinals have released DeAndre Hopkins after failing to land a trade package for him. And now he's a full free agent to choose wherever he wants to go. When you have the list of candidates like the Bills, you have the Chiefs, you have I think even the Vikings were mentioned. I heard the Patriots were mentioned. I heard, of course, the Cleveland Browns were mentioned. The Houston Texans were mentioned as a location as well, which is, very interesting, to say the least. And what are y'all thoughts about DeAndre Hopkins' time in Arizona, whether it be short-lived and the prospect of him being free? And there's some more news that came out about DeAndre Hopkins, and we'll talk about it in a second too.
Go ahead, Mike. You go first.
Okay, well, I actually dropped an article at Clutch Points 11 days ago, so I guess it was 11 days ago where this whole buzz started. No, but
What's the article at?
it's a Clutch Points,
Clutch points. Yeah.
Gotcha.
and yeah, I mean, he would be a very intriguing fit for the Texans. Obviously, still has property in Houston and still visits pretty regularly.
Yeah,
It's a
see,
shame.
he was hipster 2 weeks ago. On side by side.
I mean, it's a shame though about his family and how they were able to get tickets for like $7 there up front in Arizona. So tickets would be a little more expensive in Houston, but I think it'd be a worthwhile move. I mean, the most obvious landing spots are Kansas City and Buffalo. Hope to God Cleveland does not get in this mix, but I mean, y'all, who's the front runner for y'all?
Kansas City.
I think it's Buffalo.
Yeah,
I think Buffalo's the leading, just for a multitude. Kansas City doesn't have the money. Buffalo doesn't have it, but they have a little bit more than what Kansas City have, and I think Buffalo can make some adjustments. They can even restructure Josh Allen's contract to bring DeAndre Hopkins in, whereas Patrick Mahomes' contract came restructured. When he signed it, it was restructured. Trying to restructure that 10-year contract is a doozy. So I mean, they sign a receiver this offseason. They kind of hindered their cap of bringing anybody else in.
I mean, if he going straight just to win, he'll take a less deal to go to Kansas City because Pat Mahomes is a better quarterback by far over Jason Allen, and he ain't got to be as accurate. So the accuracy also plays a play with me with the quarterback play. Josh Allen can be wild every now and then. So Hopkins is not a great route runner. He's a exception. He's a good route runner, but his routes are not always pristine, and that works better with Pat Mahomes than does Josh Allen because Josh Allen will overthrow you, and Hop ain't what Hop used to be 5 years ago.
No, he's not. He's not at
So
all.
I think as far as a quarterback play, I think he probably be fit with Pat Mahomes, not because he's easy to win. Just it's just the way they play the game to be. I think Pat is a better quarterback overall. And I'm not saying that this news breaking issue. I mean for Hopkins, he's the better quarterback for them, not Josh Allen.
Didn't Hopkins already receive his $22 million uh, from
Yeah,
Arizona?
yeah, he
Yeah,
gets that. Yeah,
So
he
he's
gets that.
basically going to be able to double up on his salary this year.
right.
Maybe he'll take that into consideration if he chooses the team and says, "Hey man, I've already got my 22 million. I've been wanting to win. I've been wanting to be in the deep in the playoffs and be on the big stage like a Super Bowl stage." If that is the case, Kansas City is the best team when you look at the big picture for him.
For him,
Um, and I heard today that he signed with Clutch Sports.
right?
Hmm.
So he was trying to do it on his own for a while, but then he signed with Clutch Sports. I think Clutch Sports is who Will Anderson has.
Yes,
Yeah.
So maybe there's a little talk going on. Maybe we can persuade him to come to Houston. It would be a wonderful coming back. It's strange. The news worthiness of it all is the fact that he has been dropping these hints
Hmm.
of these pictures of him driving in a car next to NRG Stadium and him talking to guys at the gas station at 2 in the morning, and
Hmm.
all these different Houstonians trying to get him to come here. With Tunsil and Titus Howard reaching out to get him to come back to Houston, I think is the newsworthiness of that. Hopefully, we can do it. I know it's a long shot, but if I was him, I would go for a championship. If I was the Texans, I would be trying to do everything to get him to come back. A guy like that with the catch radius he has would only help your quarterback work on his accuracy and give him somebody to go to when there's nobody to throw the ball to.
Hmm.
Especially with our young wide receiver core, I think that would be the best situation for Hopkins. I mean, for the Texans.
Hmm.
So yeah, man, that's the newsworthy story right there. Not Titus Howard and them missing practice. Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
it's a thing with Hopkins because there's so many bit like honestly nobody knows what DeAndre Hopkins is gonna be right now.
Correct.
Because when he came back in Arizona last year, he didn't really do much. He did a little bit, but he didn't really light the world on fire. What did he play like 8 games last year?
I think it
Right.
was 10, and he caught like 64 passes,
Yeah.
700
Yeah,
something yards.
yeah.
So
I
if
mean, it's that,
think
huh?
about Hopkins' last 2 years. They ain't been good to him. They ain't been good years.
I mean,
Yeah,
64 passes with missing 6 games is pretty good.
yeah, but they got injured the year before then,
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
right? So his last 2 years are not
Very
expensive.
highly productive, right?
But he
yeah.
might get
It's
the thing he's gonna get too.
well, I mean, it looks like because he played 9 games. He played 9 games and he had 700 yards receiving, but and it looks like it looks like a lot, but his if you look in the grand scheme of things compared to the previous years, his yards per catch went down, catches per game went down, all of these different things, which was weird because he's been a productively healthy player.
Hmm.
Even though he's been injured a lot over his career, but he's always there to play.
Right.
I think the
Correct.
last 2 years in Arizona is where he got suspended at the end of 2021. Then he got suspended again at the beginning of 2022. Those the last 2 years he had 572 and 717. Um, even in that 10, I think it was 10 games in 2021, we had 500 yards. His yards per catch was 13. And it dropped down from last year from 13 to 11 yards per catch, and he only had three touchdown catches as well in those
AD,
games, huh?
AD, do you give any weight to his statement that he made about playing? He's played with quarterbacks who love the game and other quarterbacks who really don't, and kind of point to the fact that uh, maybe Murray doesn't really, have the love for the game to as much as other quarterbacks.
Oh well, hold up. First of all, why are you talking so nicely about his?
Huh?
Why are you talking so nicely about his shots at
No,
Kyle Murray?
I'm not, I mean, I know these athletes. They really not take. They don't want to take personal shots at other players, but they have to express some of the downfalls of their numbers
He said,
without directly saying, "Hey, this guy is don't love the game."
Hey,
So you
this
got
is
to kind of say it a certain way,
but see, but to me, it's even more shots, like confirmed shots, because that's what a lot of fans, a lot of people who cover sports, been
right?
saying for a long time. So for when
Right?
you try to say it now, when you look at the quarterback, when you still under contract,
Right?
and you say that, I don't care how nice you trying to say it, it speaks volume of what the quarterback you was talking about.
you know what it's called? The mofos used to say being nice nasty.
Right,
Yeah, nice, nasty.
right.
Right?
You
We
know, so
think just talking to Texas.
hey, honestly, because I'm gonna let Mike go and I'm gonna let Mike go after this. Honestly, nothing he said is not not shocking. Like it's known that Kyler Murray is an avid gamer. It's known that Kyler Murray's first love is baseball.
It is baseball.
It's he was drafted in the first round of the MLB draft
Mhm.
and parlayed that into getting a bigger contract as a rookie, coming in being a number one overall pick. They bumped up his you have a slotted value, and he would parlay, going back and forth between baseball and football, and made the Cardinals give him the absolute most that they could possibly give him as the number one overall pick, instead of kind of haggling or whatever. So he's always parlayed that baseball talk. Wouldn't be surprised if in a few years after that, the guaranteed part of his contract, when it comes to the non-guaranteed part, he steps away and he goes on and plays baseball. Honestly, I think if he gets traded this offseason, he may say, I'm not playing, I'm going to play baseball.
What are you gonna
So
go play? Shortstop?
Yeah, they might give him a big deal because if Oakland goes to Vegas, they gonna need Dame.
yeah, then look, the Oakland A's, the team he was drafted to, moving to Vegas. So
They might.
There you go.
His
There
dad
you
ain't no
yeah,
go.
fool. I talk shit about color all day long, but his dad ain't no fool though.
Yeah.
yeah,
That could be definitely a big play.
Well, he's a premier athlete. I mean,
yeah.
you can't knock the kid for who he is athletically. I think he's always had that chip on his shoulder. He's always been a guy that had I don't know if you want to say a shitty disposition, but his disposition has just been standoffish to many people, and maybe that's what made him great.
Was it,
Maybe that self assurance of who he is and not giving a fuck about anybody else made him to be great because he is a small guy in a big man's game,
you say
and
Chip? You
he's
mean
succeeded.
microchip or a big chip or a microchip? You know, for he kind
Yeah.
of small.
Well, a pebble is a boulder to him. So he, I mean, but he has played with it on his shoulder ever since high school. He was probably one of the best high school football players in the state of Texas has ever seen.
Oh,
And
no
then,
doubt, no
yeah,
doubt.
when he went to college, I mean, there was nobody that could touch him in college. And then when you get to the pros, you realize, hey, everybody runs a 4-4. And I can't just run around in circles and throw the ball up in the air. I've got to see over the lineman. I've got to have vision. And that's kind of what makes the difference between him and Bryce Young. I think Bryce Young is the type of guy that can visualize wide receivers being open without actually having to see them over the middle. And we're going to see if Bryce Young can handle that. But it seems to me that Murray was unable to deal with that. aspect of being a quarterback.
Y'all see that picture of him under center in OTAs?
Talking about the where's Bryce? Like where's
Where's
Waldo?
Waldo?
I have never talked about Bryce's height or weight this whole offseason. But you said a young man. Now I do mean young and small young man. Against some
He,
grown ass men
he
who
is a
probably
little
younger than
guy, man.
his ass. I couldn't see past one of his guys' thighs.
He is a little guy.
Mike,
He is
Mike,
little.
go ahead and jump in, man. What are your thoughts on Hopkins and the potential of where he signs and if he does come to Houston, the fit with that?
Well, first off, I don't know how we never turned uh, Bryce Young or Say Flowers into like a drinking game around Chris.
Oh man, yes, yes.
But
We would all be drunk.
but I mean Bryce, like y'all know, I've been a big Bryce fan for a while too. Um, that was a little concerning that video. I'm like, is that doctored at all? Like,
And Mike,
No
Was
Mike,
Photoshop
I was
whatsoever.
hoping. Mike,
was
I
it the
was
ankle?
hoping it was a Photoshop. But
yeah.
everybody kept telling me, no, that's real life. I said,
Mhm.
that can't be real life.
There must have been a hole in the field or something he was standing in.
A vortex or something.
No.
He was just standing in that hole that's in every field right behind the line.
Flies everybody else to sleep.
Yeah, that's
Like, oh man, the height thing is one thing. Okay, I can understand it. It was just the pure size, the frame.
yes.
Like that was to me, that was way more concerning than Bryce Young and his height. Everybody knew he was short. That's
Yeah.
fine. But the frame compared to them, like he looked like he was about the size of one of them offensive lineman legs. That's about as big as he was. And I'm like, these dudes, like, no way, sir. No way. You got to do something, man. You need to be on some protein or some whey supplements or something to bulk up or do something because your frame is and we talked about it in all season. His frame is not the type of frame that's gonna hold a lot of weight.
Right.
Yeah.
So he at the very most, Bryce will be 210
Yeah.
at his highest weight playing, which is small. Like even Russell Wilson, who's around the same height, Russell Wilson plays at almost 230 pounds.
Man, it's I'm not even mad at
He
Bryce.
close to height, ain't he? Ain't he close to height? Or maybe I'm off.
I think he's 5'11". Yeah, Kyler's 5'10".
Kyler,
Hey,
but Kyler plays at 215, 220.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Call it 235 rips
Kyler down
muscle.
235. His head is 235.
But hey, you can't get mad at Bryce for being precise. I get mad for the Carolina Panthers showing his tape to the world. You gotta protect your number one accent, man. You done traded up 18 picks, and this what you want to show the world?
Hey, at least Carolina's letting him talk to the media.
Hey,
Nobody worry about the goddamn
hey,
business.
let me say
According to
this.
John McClain,
Hey,
we're doing a disservice to these guys. We have cut off their footballs.
Let me say this. I'm the minority. I don't want to hear CJ speak. I've heard him speak. I don't want.
Is that going straight into the next segue?
He's right into it.
Right into it, man.
What we call an excellent transition. I do not, and I repeat, I do not want to hear CJ talk. I want to
Right.
see him play football, but I don't need to
Yeah.
see CJ have interviews. I don't like to watch interviews where I feel like I'm cringing.
Right.
I don't do cringe interviews. I hate that. And CJ is a prime candidate to give you a cringe interview. He is not a what they call it, the Queen's English. He's not a proponent. He's not excellent in the Queen's English. He struggles at times and he tries to overcorrect himself from talking slang and talking, Mama just said he's a nigga and he
Right.
talks
Oh wow.
like a nigga.
Oh
They
wow.
need to let him do his. They need to just let him be who he's
See?
gonna be.
CJ Stroud did not have to give any presentations at Ohio State, did not have to get in front of the class and talk. Every time they did a presentation, he was in a group project and he was
Yeah.
standing there to the side and shaking his
Mm,
head. Mhm. Yeah, I agree. Mhm.
First of
mm,
all, hold on. Y'all not gonna talk about my
Public
quarterback,
speaking,
CJ.
hey, CJ can do all things on that football field and be magnificent. One thing he's never gonna be magnificent at is behind a microphone. CJ Stroud will never be a spokesperson, will not be a commentator. CJ Stroud would be a football player.
You are not
Uh,
gonna. I'm not gonna sit you and
hey,
allow you to talk about my quarterback like this. I'm
I'm
driving for
just
a
speaking the
run game
truth.
right now,
I know it
and I'm
hurts.
gonna talk shit.
Hey, I know it hurts, Jules, to hear the truth, but you can't sit up here with a straight face and tell me that CJ Stroud is excellent, is an excellent speaker.
he is an excellent public speaker, dog. He is.
So you don't want to hear from his alter ego, Coleridge Bernard?
No,
Right.
hey, Coleridge Bernard probably is an excellent speaker, but CJ Stroud, that no, I don't need the nigga talk. I don't need the nigga. No.
Well, here's the thing about Coleridge Bernard, man. He is the type of young brother who one day might do an interview with a wave cap on and with a toothpick in his mouth
You know what? I quit.
and
I quit.
start the
I'm
interview.
done tonight.
Yeah,
I'm
Jules,
done tonight.
he might start the interview off by saying, "All praises to the glory of God, all praises to God Almighty, who serves who we serve." Um, yeah, man, it's kind of fucked up how this team how the fucking shit went, and the fucking shit, man. The motherfuckers referees is full of shit. Oh, excuse me, Lord forgive me, but this is some fucked up shit, man. And you know what? That's all right, man. Fuck this interview, bro. I'm done. And they be like, CJ, you on TV?
Oh
You be like,
man,
man, that's my quarterback, man. That is my quarterback, and I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. He
How
reminds
did we get
me.
here? How did we get here?
How did we get here?
John
We
McClain.
got. You remember that throw by Davis Mills
Oh, here
in
we
Week
go.
18? That's how
Yeah,
we got here.
I'm going home.
The 2-point conversion attempt. That's how we got here, man.
Lovely
That
Smith. That's how we
It's
got.
bad. It's bad. A little man in the Carolina got to talk about a kneecap.
hey, it's either the little man in Carolina or the BET interviews from goddamn Coleridge Bernard. I'll take Coleridge Bernard because every quarterback got to have a little bit of nigga in him. Joe Burrow got a little bit of nigga in him, right? They love that shit. Tom Brady got a little bit of nigga in him. They love that shit. We got a full-fledged fucking cocoa butter smoothing on nigga with sporting wave gel in his hair with a wave cap and can throw that ball 80 yards down the field. That brother is in the right place. He in Houston. We're gonna support him. And I don't give a damn how he talk. You know who he remind me of? He remind me of an uncontrollable, like if Damon Pierce didn't know how to curve his words,
That's
you
another
know,
one.
he's one of them brothers that say what he feel. He says how it is. It ain't on no thuggish shit, but it's on some country stuff, and it's on some street level mentality where you can understand what he's saying. He not trying to put no spice and sugar on nothing he say, and
Hey,
that's what we need. We need a couple more of that, man. We need a few more guys like that.
CJ Stroud talks like the code switched Travis Kelsey.
Right.
You know, Travis Kelsey on interviews and on in the sound bites is
That's
wild.
exactly what it is. And you know
That
what? I tell you one thing. You wouldn't mind it if Will Anderson and CJ switch personalities. Because Will
I
Anderson
hate you.
needs some of that cold CJ talk. Will Anderson is the
I hate you
nice
so
guy.
much right now.
what happened, Drew?
My bad.
I hate y'all. I hate y'all so much right now.
Will Anderson is the nice guy, man. Will
Hey,
Anderson is the dude that need a little bit of thug in him.
we gonna get off of Big Slew. Everybody know Big Slew for CJ. Big Slew.
I,
Oh, shit.
I hate y'all so much right now.
Yeah,
But
OG Cucamonga.
hey, but you know,
About
hey,
OTAs. One thing I did notice is
I think we
How big CJ is, and how small your boy Will Anderson is compared
it
to him.
looks like he
You you
belongs.
you
right.
think that CJ was linebacker?
DJ by 6'4", 6'5", man.
Yeah, yeah, and they, I think there's deceiving to say he's 6'3", but I think eventually by the time he fully develops, he gonna end up being closer to 6'5".
Hmm.
Because I still think he's gonna grow a little bit more. Pause. Um, but
If y'all ever known them brothers that go to jail,
Here we go.
that go to jail and then become Muslims and shit.
That's my
And I
CJ.
mean, they was real hardcore dudes, and then they became Muslims. And when they get out, they come talk to you, man, and you just so impressed with the
He is
gangster
not
Muslim
Tiki Williams
gangster
level.
Muslim that he is. That's C.J. Stroud, man.
That is not Tiki Williams. Okay.
hey, hey,
That's C.J. Stroud. He the
all
gangster Muslim, man.
only thing is that I'm gonna say this because they represented by the same agent and the same people or close in the same area or whatever. CJ Stroud and LeBron James.
Mm.
CJ Stroud talks the way LeBron James' mind is. And I wish that CJ Stroud could talk like LeBron James. Even though LeBron James, he's if you look at LeBron James when he was 18 years old and look at him now at 38, the interviews are totally different.
CJ went to school. He went to college.
And CJ went to college and CJ is struggling a little bit. But if CJ can get on the level, because I think he is a bright young man. I think that he is very, very intelligent, even though the S2 scores and that whole conversation happened. Makes me think he has some kind of test anxiety or something. You know, they don't give you no accommodations at the combine. Um, but you know, I just think that I think he's a bright kid. I just wish that he was more articulate and was able to enunciate his words and not, you know, kind of tumble over sometimes in interviews. But CJ Stroud, he talked to the media this week, guys. Hey,
Once again, no one cares if CJ speaks at
that's the
OTAs. Okay.
nobody. I don't care if he. You talking about OTAs? I don't care if he speaks at all. It's okay. It's
We
okay.
know your
You
technical
don't
He's
think
not.
area
he ever speak, JD?
privilege
Yeah,
over
he
there. We
never
know your
speaks again.
elitist
All
stuff
I
over
can
there.
hear him say is "said hut." That's all I need to hear him
That's
say.
it.
Give me that audible
Give you
call.
that audible. That's all you need,
That's
man.
all I need. That's all
Yeah.
I need. I don't need all the extra. I didn't want to hear Deshaun Watson speak. He was
See,
bad too.
I ain't want to go that way. Because Peyton Manning couldn't speak.
Nobody wants to hear Peyton Manning.
You know what I'm saying?
Nobody
He couldn't
wants.
speak at first.
Nobody wants to hear.
What cares?
Nobody
Nobody
I
cares.
want to know
cares.
what Sean was talking
Big
to
man.
time with his lazy eye.
Oh, you talking about lazy out Deshaun? Well, that happened because he got kicked in the eye, man. That
Yeah, he
yeah,
damn near got his eye
man.
kicked out his
What
face.
made the eye lazy? It's real. You know, it be tired, man. Or sometimes you be like, man. Then that's how I was wondering how his edge up got messed up because his eye was leaning, so the barber got a little confused.
You know
And
what?
Mm,
We're
mm,
gonna
mm,
turn this show back on. We're gonna get the show back on the rails because we're y'all.
mm.
hey, hey, nobody want to talk about it, but that boy Deshaun Watson edge up is out of there,
He
You
got
know
that
what?
Warren Moon special.
man.
Since we talk about the Browns,
That
an
is just back
icon, a
there.
legend has passed away the last week and a half. We're gonna give
Yeah,
honor to Jim Brown.
Jim Brown.
one of the greatest running backs to ever play the game. Lace up some cleats,
Mm,
you know, philanthropist, freedom. I want to say freedom fighter.
mm.
uh, Jim Brown
Freedom
activist.
rights, civil
Um,
rights leader.
yeah, civil rights leader, activist, a pillar in the African American community. Jim Brown passed away at the age of I think 85.
Good
If I'm not
life.
mistaken.
Was he 85?
I
That
thought it
was
was
83.
83.
That was 83.
83. I'm sorry. I think, I I'm gonna sound bad, but I
Oh
don't get
Lord.
when people get sad when old people die.
Yeah.
They old for a reason. Like the whole everybody was depressed when Tina Turner passed. She was old.
Yeah.
What was she like? She hadn't performed in like 15 years. Like she wasn't.
Yeah.
She's old,
What is wrong
and
with you today?
she had rolled. She has rolled on the river. She
Mm.
rode all the way down the river. She was done.
Mm.
Normally AD is a nice,
Hey,
quiet one that keeps everybody around. Are we really just gonna go take
I
shots at
don't.
everybody
Hey,
today?
As the
rest in peace
eldest
to
brother
Jim
on this
Brown.
panel, we are not gonna have no old people slander around this motherfucker. Because I'm the closest to that casket, and I don't want to hear that slander, nigga. If old people is fun to be old too,
Yeah.
better old than dead.
Hey, he dead. Yeah, he dead. He saw both sides. He was old and dead. Yeah.
That's not nice. AD, what is going on?
Hey, Jim Brown, excellent figure. I don't know what y'all want to say about Jim Brown.
I
I
like
I,
Jim Brown.
I
I want
thought
to say one thing about Jim
Jim
Brown.
Brown been
I
looking
saw
dead
some
for the
negative
last
stuff
5 years
about Jim
too.
Brown on the internet. I did
Jim
not
Brown,
like.
Hey,
Jim Brown wasn't he wasn't the
A
nice
saint.
guy
Yeah,
Jim
for a
Brown.
long
Hey,
time. Let's I'm not
Jim
gonna
yeah,
Brown.
judge this man's legacy, but
Hey,
the
yeah,
fact that he
tell
fought
you,
for what he fought and only played 8 years and his record held for so long
yeah,
and just the what he meant to the black culture as being proud black and
yes.
never ever
Apologizing.
apologize for being who he was.
Right,
And I wish the 45 years that he was an activist that the black community would have really understood what he stood for, what Kareem Abdul-Jabbar stood for, what Bill Russell stood for, how they took and Muhammad Ali, those four giants in the '60s and the '50s, took all the attention away from being black and proud and took it faced on. They
right,
faced some of the worst things in the world, and those strong black men did not care.
right. The one
And
thing I'd like to add to that, as a black man in America, a couple of things. First, as a black man in America, I appreciated how. I remember I seen an interview. They asked him, "Why did you quit football so early?" And he said, "I found out that I could make 3 times more money by kissing white women on TV than running around and getting tackled by 5 white men on Sunday."
right,
And so, of course, I quit and I went to the movies. And that's what he did. He quit NFL after leading the NFL 8 years in a row in rushing.
right.
Something I don't think has been topped yet.
No, it hasn't.
And he said, I'm tired of getting beat up on this field, and y'all don't want to pay me the money that I'm owed. I'm gonna go make more money on TV and be a movie star right now. The other thing that I enjoyed about him as a black man is the fact that he was such a strong figure
Right,
in our community that he's like one of the only men in the world who could walk into a gang environment and bring Bloods and Crips together and force them to shake hands and
right,
say, we're going to talk about this. I mean, and we talking about in the 80s, in the early 90s, when there was real Crips and Bloods,
right,
when they was shooting each other from across the street. And he tried to slow the tides, and he was a big part of calling a truce. Right? On the lighter side of me being a mixed brother, uh, I'll say this on behalf of the white people and Mike G. He scared the shit out of me.
Hey,
He was a bad dude.
hey,
He
y'all
was a
seen
bad dude. And
barbershop?
if you didn't ask him the right question, he did not give you the right answer. And
Yeah,
he forced you to be a better person.
right,
Whether you liked it or not, whether you were scared or not, he forced you to be a better man, and a better person. And for that, I say rest in peace, big, to the king, man, to Jim Brown. Rest
You
in peace.
remember that scene in Barbershop 3 when they called for Chicago for a ceasefire?
Yeah,
That was what he did in
that's right.
L.A. And that was just a clip of what he did. And
Right.
as powerful as that was in the movie, that was how in real life, when real lives were online,
Yeah,
that
and it wasn't even cameras around when he was doing that.
nah,
He
and
was
he
literally bringing them to a house in L.A., real Bloods and real Crips, and sitting down with them and say, "Hey, man, we got to stop killing each other."
and don't forget in the '80s that he was what in his 40s by that time.
Yeah, he was an old man, but he was so powerful. His demeanor just alone of walking in the room was nothing but respect. And so, if a lot of these young guys who don't know who Jim Brown is, let me see if there's a guy now. Is there anybody now, you guys, that gives off the Jim Brown euphorium or the
on,
personality of a Jim Brown?
on the football field or
Any guy from football, basketball, baseball,
oh,
movies. I'm trying to figure one out.
if you ain't gonna like it though,
Uh-huh.
LeBron James has a very very positive
He
light.
has the he has the. I think LeBron does all the right things in the community
He does, and he don't get no credit for it.
and don't get no credit for it. But he doesn't have that. He doesn't have when he. I mean, sure, when he walks into the room, the people jaws drop. But I mean, Jim Brown was like. I'm trying to think of somebody. I can't
No,
think of it.
LeBron James goes after the tough issues and and he doesn't hide from them.
No, LeBron James is fake woke. I'm not
Okay.
gonna. I'm not gonna.
This 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 this, this petty
I'm
AD
not,
all day today.
I'm not gonna stand for this. LeBron James
This
is
is
not
gonna be petty AD
is
all day
not for
today.
the people. LeBron James does whatever the people tell him to talk about. That's what
Mhm.
he talk about.
Just
He,
because everybody go to A&M.
Come on now.
and look, as much as we talking about how much Jim Brown did for the black community did not do any give any benefits or any do any gracious services to Jim Brown, trotting his old ass out there at these award shows and these events
Oh
when
man.
he
Wow.
been he made
So
Tom
Mike,
let it, Jim Brown does not need to be at every Hall of Fame game. Not these last few. He did not need to be here. He did not need to be at the Hall of Fame induction speech. He didn't need to be there. He didn't need to be at no Heisman Trophy presentation. He didn't need to be at none of that. But try Jim Brown old ass out there when he looked like he been dead for the last 5 years anyway.
see Mike.
Look,
This happens when you go to
man,
the cookout.
we can't,
You know what I'm
we
saying?
can't.
It's always that uncle
Mike, do
that
they
always
do
try
this
to
to
talk
white brothers?
trash.
Do the white brothers do this to each other, Mike? This is crazy right here, man.
No, this
Hey,
this 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 is said on
We
hey,
can't even
barbershop.
say rest in peace to this brother.
you said it.
AD talking about he,
Summer Rosa Park,
AD talking about we
she
bringing
just sat she
dead
just, she
people
just
on
sat down.
stage.
Like, man, just let it go. It's
Jim
okay.
Brown did look like he was asleep at a couple of them games. They was like they showed the camera up to Jim Brown,
Ain't nobody
reported
said
on
no
him.
when
That boy
Bill
was like
Russell was doing that when he was half ass dead.
they had to
Black,
wake him
hold
up.
on.
Jim, they got the camera on
Look,
you.
hey, let me say this, man. Black folks gonna always bring out that eldest person out there. I don't give a damn what's it at a family reunion, big
Oh shit.
grandma, 97 with one leg and half an
Mm,
arm, and they
mm.
gonna try grandma out there. This grandma Pearl, y'all. Everybody come speak to
Everybody say
Grandma
hey.
Pearl. Grandma
Yeah.
Pearl one sneeze away from being in the casket. And y'all gonna
Yeah.
and then bring her out here and trot her old self out here. No,
Gotta
no,
put
no.
a wig on her
Black
and shit.
always do that with white
So
folks.
Mike,
Everybody,
who's the
they
old
do it
white
just like
person?
newborn babies. They want all the black folks want everybody come see the old folks just like
White
they
people
want.
don't give a damn about their old people.
Hold on, we got one white man and half a white man over here. So y'all let us know what's the old white man that y'all try that for every sports event. It was Betty White for a minute, so let's not go like they don't do. They ain't love Betty White when she was half dead
Nigga,
too.
nigga, Babe Ruth, nigga. If they could bring Babe Ruth back to life, They bring his ass right back and put him on the mound right now.
Oh no, Chris. Then they had to put him back in the ground because they found out he black.
All
Then
right.
they put him back in.
They found out he black. He smoking cigars and shit.
Babe
He
Ruth,
had that big
nobody
old
want to
original
talk about
man
it.
nose.
I got it.
Babe Ruth is
I
black.
got one. No, hold on.
Yeah.
I got one.
Here we
Jay
go.
Joe freaking name it. Why is he still doing the rounds?
They'll try
Nah,
to mock
they didn't like his own name either.
Terry Bradshaw getting up there. They keep trying him on everything. Terry Bradshaw getting up there. He's starting to look real old. They did Bob Barker like that for a while too. They
Yeah, he
put
did
Bob.
Bob Barker.
What
Um,
about Rocket Marciano?
You know what?
Every time they go to talk about boxing, the
All
white
right,
man
all
on the
right,
screen,
all right.
Rocket Marciano out there.
AD is choosing violence
let me
today, so we're gonna just move on to
let me
the
let me,
last
let me
topic.
cap it off. Let me cap it off because Jim Brown. It's a lot of shade to Jim Brown, but Jim Brown is much respected,
A
much
legend, man.
a legend, and
Yeah,
he's a Hall of Famer. Hall of Famer outside of football as well. Jim Brown is very, very important to not just Black history, but American history as well, and what he's done for the cause of African Americans and for just people in general, for all Americans. And what he's fought for and what he's done for this country and what he's done for his people. So much respect to Jim Brown. May he rest in peace. And let's all celebrate. He's going. I already know Cleveland's going to do a big celebration for him. It's at the Hall of Fame game. It's going to be a big celebration for him. NFL already has something planned. I'm pretty sure. So just we're gonna all wait and see. But everybody is gonna celebrate the life of Jim Brown.
that's right.
Let's move on to some more football talk, and hopefully, I know we all off the ring. I mean, the sparks been flying for a minute.
Uh,
But
AD did petty today.
talk
hey,
bad about Jim Brown,
hey,
looking like he was dead at the award ceremony.
like
Come on,
Jim,
man.
BT Awards, they bring Jim Brown up for what? What does he
Y'all
need to
know
come
who
to
said Jim
BT
Brown?
Awards?
Hold on. Let's get back to a
What does
football.
he get?
Let me get back to one football aspect of that segment real quick. Was Jim Brown the best running back of all time?
No,
Mhm.
Why you said that so quick? You ain't even
Yeah,
had no
you said that
time.
quick.
That was
because
He
he
too quick.
because he was a 6'5" black man playing against 5'11", 4'11" white man that couldn't stop him.
You trying to put that Bill Russell argument on him, or the
There
I'm
you
what?
just
go.
saying.
You trying to put that on him? Don't knock him. Don't knock his greatness.
Hey, the best running back of all
He
time to
wouldn't-
me is gonna be Barry Sanders.
Barry Sanders said that Jim Brown was the best running back ever.
Barry Sanders' daddy said that, and that's why he
Yeah,
said
Barry Sanders' daddy told him that.
that's right, and that's why he
And
said
that's
what he
why he
said.
didn't break the record.
That's right, because the daddy wouldn't forgive him.
His daddy wouldn't forgive him because his daddy said Jim Brown was the best ever. And both of them guys quit early, which
Right,
means Emmitt Smith is not the best yardage running back of all time.
man.
So
I
you
wouldn't.
Cowboys fans can whatever y'all have you want to say that in a negative way.
I give you one better. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna piss off Cowboys fans saying, "Fuck Emmitt Smith. He's not in my top 10."
Right. And he's not in a lot of people top 10, but Jim Brown was one of the best. He was one of the hardest, strongest, fastest guys to play the sport. So let's move on. I just wanted to throw that topic up there because we had called the man all kind of this and that and off the
I
field.
didn't call the man nothing. I called him the greatest of
Yeah,
all time. That's
I
that's,
said
that's
it.
petty ass AD over there.
I said it, and I mean it.
and I mean it.
Like, it is what it is.
Jim
Move
Brown
on.
ghost gonna come back and whoop your ass, AD.
Hey,
He gonna catch you in a damn alley
hey,
one day.
look, if his ghost come back on that cane like he been coming out, I'm good. I'm good.
You might can get him, AD. You
Oh, I can take him. I can take
can
him.
take him.
Once again, Mike. This is happening when you go to
Oh
Black Barbecue.
shit.
We talk about everybody,
Mike
everybody
up
mama.
plenty of black barbecues. Mike can't. Mike know what it is.
You know what I'm saying? We talk about somebody greatness, R&P. You talking about, but he wasn't that good. He wasn't that great.
Mike,
You know what I'm saying?
I didn't say he wasn't that great. I just say
You
he
know
was
what I'm saying?
old.
Mike, give us one white man that all white men love.
Frank Sinatra.
Why we gotta do Mike like this? He gotta be the representative for the white segregation.
He got to
Hey,
represent, man. He
hey,
represent one.
we
Who
did
you
it for
got, Mike? Who?
we did it for 25 years. A token black guy. Every time a black cop comes to come up, ask the one black guy, the one ignorant black guy, hey, what you think about this? And he says
Right.
some ignorant shit. So
Would
he
you
our
would
token
you
white guy.
say would you say somebody like Ronald Reagan? They love Ronald Reagan, man.
No,
Democrats and Republicans love Ronald Reagan, bro.
no. Who was they love so much? What president loved? It was Reagan, and it was wasn't Ford. It was one in between those two. Damn sure wasn't Bush.
Oh, I know who it is. I know who it is.
I
His
had to
name
be a
was
president.
his nickname was the Duke,
Oh, Bill. Oh,
John Wayne.
John Wayne couldn't act for shit. Had no range.
John Wayne.
But was one of the greatest of all time. He played the cowboy role in every role. You know who else? You know who got no range, but sold a lot of movies? Fucking Elvis.
Elvis.
Elvis couldn't act to save his fucking life. We're
Now
gonna win
Elvis
this
could be
race.
the one.
Ain't nothing but a horn dog.
We're gonna win this race.
Nigga, Elvis was the one white man that was so popular that people didn't even want him to be dead.
Right? They saw him alive for centuries.
Yeah, he was the Tupac of the white people.
They saw him die on stage.
Hey, let's whip this car back on the lane.
Yeah, let's get it back on the train track.
We going. Moving on, man. The final topic we gonna talk about is free agency. Free agents. The main free agency is
Mike
past.
ain't gave one answer yet, dog. Shit.
What's always say Sinatra?
All right, go ahead. Let's go on. Mike is a diplomatic. You see that? That's how you do it diplomatically, right there. That's right, Mike.
He wants to say Eminem. That's what he want to say. Eminem.
Don't let him drag you into the deep waters, Mike.
He want to say what Bubba Sparks.
Bubba Sparks. Vanilla Ice.
Don't you say shit about Billy Ray Cyrus.
Ice, baby.
Oh shit! I gotta go. I gotta go home.
No. Last topic, man. Let's talk about the free agency. And there are still a few players out there that can potentially help the team. We talked about DeAndre Hopkins being one of those players. Another player that is, frequently talked about in these spaces that we have on Twitter is Jadeveon Clowney. Jadeveon Clowney, I feel like, is a free agent that the Texans could desperately use along that defensive line and would make the team better. I know that there's a lot of outside factors that everybody want to bring in, and what happened in Cleveland, and he got into it with the coaches and the attitude, this and that. But if you look at it, same thing with DeAndre Hopkins as well. Fans had that issue with Hopkins. But if you look at it just strictly football, Jadeveon Clowney is a perfect fit on what the Texans are trying to do. But what are y'all thoughts about Clowney?
Especially if you want your star defensive end to have that weak side in all time, you put Klein on that there, and you give him all the help he needs. Because we got to admit, Jerry Hughes ain't going to keep being great or very good very much longer. Gennard is not an option after the season. You got a young guy in Dylan that I think is going to be the starting strong side at the end a year or two from now. Other than that, that's all you got. If you trying to play county big money, him and Hopkins can go hand in hand on a ditch somewhere. I'm not paying big money for either one of them. But that's my take.
Mike, what you got?
I mean, he's not going to sign until training camp or
They go training camp.
Because he never does. He wants to skip all that. I think it would be a pretty good fit. Obviously, it wouldn't be really expensive.
Right.
I don't know how much he cares anymore because he seemed to really want to stick it to Cleveland on his way out, and skipped some.
That's because he was mad because I I think he was sold a bill of goods that him and Garrett gonna feed off each other and they're gonna make each other better. When it was when Cho was really was it's all about Garrett, which he should know that. But we always know that Clowney ain't the smartest person in the tool shed and the sharpest tool in the barn. You know, he ain't that bright. He should have known that they pay this dude $20 million a year. You gonna be his helper. You gonna be second to his number one. You gonna be his Robin. You know, he ain't that
Mhm.
bright though. I don't know why he fell for that.
Well, I think you explain it because he's not that bright. But
Like this, I'll tell Bill O'Brien in the future. In the past, this man, you put his hand in the dirt, you go forward. You might go a little right, you might go a little left, but you go forward. You don't make him go backwards. You don't make him do coverage. And he got you 10 good years.
Good. Mike, you got anything else?
I mean, the depth and the talent at edge isn't great. I mean, obviously we got Will Anderson, we got Jerry Hughes, who was really good last year. I think he's still got a little bit left in the tank, but it's probably only one more year.
Mike, he's 49 years old. You can't keep thinking this 49-year-old man gonna keep being good and get 9 sacks.
He gonna be pretty decent.
Yeah, I think he may get 6 this year. He'll cede some more snaps to Grenard if he can stay healthy, and Dylan Horton. And so it's you want some more guys for the rotation. Obviously, Clowney can bring it as a run defender and occasionally as a pass rusher. So,
Mhm.
and schematically, I think the fit makes sense. He'll probably have some more teams, though, especially as injuries inevitably take place throughout training camp. So there's going to be some other teams giving him a call.
Go Buffalo.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, oh, go ahead,
No, I
again.
was
Sorry.
waiting on you.
Oh yeah, I think it would just be wonderful to pick him up. I think those are the type of moves that teams make who are trying to really put a good foot forward during the season, who are really trying to shoot for a winning season. And to you know how long this season is, 17 games long, 18 weeks. These young guys that are coming in might not understand how long this season is. Grenard always usually gets hurt every now and then, every season. These guys need to be relieved, and if you're going to relieve them, you might as well relieve them with the best talent that you can find. For $5 to $7 million, maybe $8 million at the most, incentive-based deal, I think Clowney is the perfect fit. I think D'Amico can get the best out of him. You stick him out there at that wide 9 position, and you just let him go on quarterbacks. He's not going to start. He knows that. I think he appreciates the fact that he's able to play back in Houston. I believe his family still lives here,
Mm-hmm.
and if
Nigga,
he can,
everybody still in Houston.
huh?
Nigga, everybody still in Houston.
Yeah,
Everybody in
right.
Houston.
Nobody ever leaves, and that's another thing. Him and if we talking about free agency, if there's a way that they can talk him and the DeAndre Hopkins into both coming back, um, now you're talking about a real H-Town reunion with D'Amico and bringing all these guys back that are from Houston, coming into the system, being around the organization. So yeah, man, if they can get Clowney back, if they can get DeAndre Hopkins back, I would love that. Another free agent that that we should keep eyes on, or of course the guy from AD loves is T Higgins. Not sure if that's an option, but if it is, you keep your eyes on him. Devontae Adams, you don't know what's going on in the Raiders facilities. They're having trouble with their quarterback not getting the pass and the physical, which in turn, not to talk about free agency, but trades, that can be an area that Davis Mills could be traded to. Is somebody like the Raiders, and I don't want to make this no long.
No, we're not gonna go down that rabbit hole because you got the defenders. The
Right,
defenders igniting. They
right.
kid. You say his name too many times, like
They come,
Beetlejuice, he pop up.
they
And
come running like Candyman, huh?
I'm telling you,
But the thing is, there's still some pieces on this team that I think can be tooled, upgraded, added to, moved around. I like our linebacker position a little bit better than last year, but I'm not sold on it. I don't
Mhm.
know how well Perryman is going to play with coming off a torn pec. That's a real strenuous position to play with the repaired torn pectoral muscle.
Hey,
Um,
I'm not gonna be sold on it until Christian Kirksey is gone. So I'm
Correct.
every time I can, I'm gonna make sure that's known. He needs to be gone. Get him
Yes.
out of Houston. Let him go somewhere
Yes.
else.
Yes. And
So
so, with that being said, I've always said I've got my eye on a guy like a Devin White, who I don't think is going to last in Tampa Bay. I don't think he wants to be around a rebuilding type situation where they're starting completely over. I know we're rebuilding over here, but to bring him down south, I think that might be something. Stick him in there with a Christian Harris and with the Totoa. Now you're talking about the top linebacker core in the NFL at some point. Um, I also think we're not finished at D tackle. If y'all notice, we keep bringing in these D tackles, and I know they're
mhm.
camp bodies, but they just getting looks at guys. At some point, there's going to be somebody that's going to be offered up. It could be a defensive end. It could be Chase Young. There's going to be a situation where some of these guys, when they go into camp, they're going to be offered up, and hopefully the Texans have their antennas up. And I leave that there. So yeah, I'd love for Clowney to come back. I love for DeAndre Hopkins to come back. If we did that, you could sign me up for 10 wins, 11 wins this year.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I think the Texans are still gonna make a lot of moves.
Yeah,
Especially going towards training camp and cuts and everything like that. But I just DeAndre Hopkins may be a far fetched idea, even though it may happen. I think it's more far fetched than what Jadeveon Clowney is, and I
right.
think that him bringing him on the team is just going to be a benefit to the whole roster. And I hate when people want to bring up, I don't want this player to destroy the locker room. Why did you hire D'Amico Ryans? Why did you
Right.
hire D'Amico Ryans if one player can come in and tear down a whole locker room?
Yeah,
That
that's
defeats
why we took 18 captains in the draft.
Right.
exactly.
Right. Because they
Like,
can't handle one player.
yeah, this one player is gonna come in and tear down a whole locker room that D'Amico Ryans and company have built. It makes absolutely zero sense. So I just wish that narrative will quit. It's different with basketball because it's a smaller number of players, but I highly doubt one man is going to affect the whole 90 in training camp and tear down the whole roster. I don't.
Right.
It just even the whole 53. It's 53 people. One dude can't tarnish the whole 53. So other than that, man, we done talked about this. This has been one of the most off the real episodes of the H Time Rundown. But we appreciate y'all for sticking with us. Jules had to bounce.
Yes,
Jules
sir.
is Jules like Jim Brown, he old and he gotta, go to bed,
Mhm.
gotta get his nap in. Um, but like I said before earlier, please like, share, and subscribe. It's right there at the bottom. Follow us. All our handles are at the bottom. Hit that notification button and subscribe and just follow all the content, man. We're gonna keep pushing it out all of off season basketball as well. But this has been another episode of H Time Rundown. This is your boy AD. We got C Roll in the building, Mike G, and shout out to Jules who had to pop off. And we'll holler at y'all next time, man. Peace.